All right, y'all. Good evening. Good evening. Um, Let me get logged in through my phone so that we can get started. Tonight, we're going to start off with a little bit of, we'll look at a couple different sectors, and then we'll go into some of the tickers that I'm looking at. Plus, I know some of the other admins might be looking at as well too. Where is it? All right. All right. Perfect. So, if you can hear me, please put a one in the chat. All right, what's up, Doc? Thank you so much. All right. So, first we're gonna start off with looking at the futures real quick. Obviously, I know that they just opened, right? But so I'm bullish, and just simply because of it's not really strat related, except for on the Dow, we have a potential 322 rev strat, especially if we end up being bullish. Just seeing signs of exhaustion, right? And then also this swing low over here. We're right back above it. So just checking to see if it's going to continue acting as support, which so far it has with this candle over here, also this candle over here, excuse me, as well. Couldn't really take the lows, but if you notice down here, there is a previous high right around the same exact area previous low is. So that tells me that this is a pretty important area of both support and resistance as well too. So that's something that I tend to pay attention to. That's more of an ICT concept over the strat. But again, just noticing that, even when price got down here, as you can see, we really couldn't displace below it. So seeing that on the Dow, that price action came back down to the same level of support, 38, 113, and then bounced off of that also kind of makes me feel like, okay, this is just a retracement. Um, and so we can continue bouncing up and TTO to the upside. If that is the case, then honestly, the first target's going to be up here at 4213. Second target will be here at 4358, which will be back in all-time high territory, if I'm not mistaken. So something to look out for. Obviously, I know we have some data this week, and I know we have, I think FOMC is next week, if I'm not mistaken. So, yeah, just looking forward to the start of June. It could be, it looks to me at least that, we may continue bullish. As far as, the Qs and then also SPY over here, just the fact that, we traded back into a fair value gap over here on the Qs. And again, we really, we didn't fill it. We didn't displace below, right? So this fair value gap is still somewhat being respected. We'll see if we can get some displacement this week up and out of it. The fair value gap, if you can't see it, hold up. Mouse pad is bothering me. All right, there we go. So boom, boom. Oh, change that to that. There you go. So that's the bullish fair value gap that, as you can see, we traded into but couldn't displace. And what I look for is when price goes below that consequent encroachment, I look to see where price closes. If we close below, then for me, I'm like, okay, so we're probably going to continue bearishness, and the confirmation for me is the candle that finally displaces, in other words, closes outside of that fair value gap. If we're going bullish, this is exactly what I'm looking for. Ideally, I would want price to close back up and outside of the fair value gap within the same candle, but we all can't get everything we want. So I'm looking for this candle. If this fair value gap is going to continue to be respected, I'm looking for this candle to displace. It might just stay inside candle, setting us up for a 212 reversal. Some areas of potential resistance I see is up here at 18,876. So if we do get a pretty nice bullish run this week, just pay attention to that level. See if price starts to struggle just like these last two candles did over here. Now, if we continue bearishness, then again, we're looking for the candle to close below the fair value gap, and then most likely these two fair value gaps here would potentially be used as support. If not, then it's probably going to head to external range liquidity down at 7,113. Again, I think we're following the same patterns of what we've been seeing, run up, pull back, run up, pull back, run up. So now we see if this one is a just a mini pullback like what we got over here with this literally just the out of all what 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12 13 14 15. We'll stop there. 15 weeks they had one red week in that streak. So is this that one red week and then continuing up? We'll see. Obviously, again, futures just open, so I'll probably pay more attention to that in the morning. Looking at ES, again, same thing, right? You've seen the run up, you've seen the pullback, and then price action, I think traded just shy. Or no, I think it did tap. Yeah, it did. Right, came all the way down to this fair value gap, and same thing that happened on the Qs. But this one I like better because it completely displaced outside of this fair value gap, and then also this little tiny one right here as well too. There, so completely displaced back up out of both of them, which makes me think it's price is going to try to head for external range liquidity at the top here. Either that's going to be a 2-1-2 or potentially a 2-2 reversal back to the upside, just the same way I see for the Q. So my bullish case for why I think we're heading up is, again, we have the potential 3-2-2 rev strat for the Dow, potential 2-2 reversal, and then potential 2-2 reversal on oh wait, oh yeah, okay, no, I thought I was looking at the same thing, my bad. Right, and then looking at the daily. So again, with the daily, we actually got the 2-2 reversal from Thursday heading into Friday. So obviously, we had that amazing run up on Friday, right? So created a fair value gap. Let's see if we continue to create more. Might find some resistance on the daily side right around this fair value gap at 405. As far as the Qs, first fair value gap is here, right? So we'll see what happens if we get up there. It's just areas to be aware of. But yeah, I think if we could get a strong push, bullish catalyst, if you will, I think we're probably going to go back and test all-time highs. And yeah, with SPY, we went outside day, beautiful outside day. Love the exhaustion from the downside, right? Respected this previous high, this previous low, and respected the fair value gap. So bulls clearly did not want that to go down. And honestly, I kind of see just a little bit of power of three, right? Accumulation and then the manipulation to the downside, and then potential TTO back to the upside as well too. So yeah, it looks bullish to me, unless there's some news or something that comes out that sparks a sell-off. Yeah, I think I feel good about it being a bullish week. All right. So a couple of sectors to pay attention to. First one that I wanted to look at is, oops, wrong. I did the wrong one, my bad. Over here. All right. So kind of looking for sectors to kind of mimic the same exact behaviors. So what we're seeing from XLK on the weekly is, traded back into not one, but two fair value gaps, and then displaced out of the first, not quite the second. So we're looking for that continuation back to the upside, right? Respected. Yeah, sorry, I was about to repeat myself. Respected the fair value gap. Strat wise, there is that broadening formation there to kind of worry about, but obviously you still got some room from 210 back to the highs at 217 there for XLK. Looking at it on the daily as well too, you kind of see the same thing. traded back into a fair value gap, respected a previous high as well too, ended up going hammer. I like that it closed higher than the previous day's close as well too. So yeah, this sets us up for a 2-2 reversal back to the upside. So be on the lookout for that. I think also I can't remember exactly what the news was about Apple. Shit, but I know it involves AI in their phones. I'd seen some article pop up, but yeah, I think Apple is gonna, I don't want to say take over because Nvidia's still doing the damn thing, but I think Apple's gonna kind of get into this, it's gonna get into the ring, so to speak. Probably gonna, definitely push that bullish run in my opinion. Yeah, as a matter of fact, we can just take a look at it right now, just real quick. Yeah, so actually the month did close, so let's take a look at the month, right? So beautiful 2-2 reversal on the month. Um, really, really, really simple setup actually, right? Swept lows, right? Price, took out this previous low. And this is the difference between a sweep and a run, right? Price getting down below that low and displacing back above it, that's a sweep. Now, if it were to if it were to displace below it, then we're looking at a liquidity run, kind of like what you see over here. This candle displaced above the high. There goes your liquidity run, right? Meaning that it's probably going to continue in the same way. In the same direction. I thought I saw. Hold up. I thought I saw a chat notification, but I could be wrong. Okay. Yeah, we're good. Yeah. Okay. So seeing that on the month, right? Long, huge volume, right? So to me, by ICT standards, this tells me that there's institutional sponsorship here, right? This tells me that the algos, like Apple, the algos found Apple to be at a discount around this area after sweeping the lows, right? What's below the lows? Those stop hunts or sell stops, if you will, right? Below the lows. Above the highs would be the buy stops, right? So you get the exhaustion, using strat terms, you get the exhaustion that creates your broadening formation. And one of the strat combos, that 2-2 reversal, good old faithful, right? So price just blew through that this month. And yeah, we're looking for that 2-2 continuation to complete that TTO. So if you wanted to look at Apple maybe a little bit long term, just based on the monthly, right? You probably want to look at that 200 call. Um, if you want to give it time, I would say July 19th. And this is just based off of looking at the monthly. Now, on the weekly, we do got a 2-2 continuation, but the thing I like is the trend that we're seeing, right? If a fair value gap is strong, then it's going to create other fair value gaps. And we did create that secondary fair value gap. So, again, we're looking for that continuation. We're looking for price to trade to the next external range, right? So that's 196.38. And again, I would probably say any one of them, 195 or 200s would be good. You probably just want to, put a little bit of time on it, at the very least 2 weeks on it. And yeah, let it do its thing. But yeah, really good run up that we're seeing on the weekly and then also on the daily. We end up with a three hammer. We end up with an outside hammer. Now, if you remember from any of the past teachings, Strat tells us that a three candle is an aggression candle, right? And what that means is that there's either going to be aggressive selling or there's going to be aggressive buying. This candle tells us that there was aggressive buying because at first, after the double inside, the bears took it down and took out the low of that of that inside candle shortly before the bull stepped in and took it back up and turned that thing into a hammer. So ideally, what we'd look for is a 1-3-2 up in this scenario, right? Especially with getting that hammer, we're looking for that 1-3-2 up, which again with TTO on the daily, right? That 193 seems to be a pretty decent resistance considering that we tapped it twice. But we get above that and we hold above that. If we can close above that, I think, 200 is definitely within range if you give it some time. So like I said, 200 July, probably a good one. I just want to look at the 270 real quick. Holy Grail setup to go 312. Um, Now the only thing I'm gonna say, like, not to say I'm bearish or whatever, but just watch what that two does on the 4 hour. All right. Because remember, I've been talking about how, you see the Holy Grail, and then let's say a high or a low gets taken out. So if it's a high in this scenario, it would be a two up, but then price can't displace above it. So make sure that 270 candle, or sorry, let's look at the 4 hour. Yeah. So same setup. So um, make sure that 4 hour displaces above um, that 193 high. All right. If you want to, and if you want to take your time with it. And then the hour, yeah, I'd still say the same thing. Just pay attention to that 193 level, especially around the 4 hour, right? Or if you want to wait till see how the daily does, that's fine too, because again, you're giving yourself time. Yes, the contract is going to be a little bit more expensive, but um, I think it'll be safer, I should say. All right. So yeah, that's XLK. Another one that I wanted to look at was actually XL. No, it was B first. So XLB is not one of the popular ones, materials, but what I like about it is that one, we've been respecting this structure breaking fair value gap, broke structure to the upside, and market structure, even with this two down, or excuse me, this bearish two up candle, market structure is still to the upside, right? All that we see is that this two took out these highs over here, and then the very next candle essentially tried to negate that and couldn't do it, right? As you can see, we didn't go outside month, right? So kind of works like that. Sometimes the next candle in the next time, the next candle in the time frame tries to negate what happened on the first one. So yeah, so we're inside. So again, we have an opportunity to go 212 continuation to the upside. And I think that would continue pushing us up into all-time highs, I believe. Yep. Right. So XLB materials, right? I think inside candle on the month, on the week, we actually traded back into a breaker block, a bullish one at that, and we end up with a hammer, right? So that sets us up for a 2-2 reversal back to the upside, and we'd be looking to TTO and really TTO because this is kind of just the pullback about this whole thing. So we would be looking for the TTL back up to 93.72. And then on the daily, 3-2 up. So we're looking for that 2-2 continuation. I like the fact that again, even on the breaker block, and this is why I feel like they're very powerful, and that's why I've been adding them, because the more back testing I've been doing, I see the more likely they get respected. So yeah, 3 attempts here, there, and there, and all failed. And even on the retracement, just retrace back into a fair value gap. And as you can see, we're bouncing off of that. So yeah, we're looking to get through these fair value gaps, go back and retest these highs, and ultimately get back up to 93.72. So there are a couple tickers in XLB that you could probably take a look at. NUE, NEM, FCX is also in materials as well too. I think CLF is also in materials, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, so let's see. Right, so this may be one that, might take a little bit, well, not really. Because on the monthly, actually, this is good. This is kind of what you're looking for, right? Because here's our swing low, right? We make a high, we come back down, make a low, boom, boom, but we're still making higher lows. Now, if we get that reversal back to the upside, right? So we're kind of looking for that. Once we get that pivot, we're looking for higher lows to be made to see if that bullish trend is going to continue. As you can see, we've kind of been trading a little sideways since that swing point, but I like the fact that we finally got up out of this breaker block over here, and we've been, making higher lows. So maybe this time around we get the 322 reversal, and this month ends up being a pretty decent month. There is a fair value gap here, but it's two-sided, pretty weak actually. Bullish, bearish, and then bullish candles. So I don't think they would. I don't think price is going to have too many. If we obviously if we go bullish, I don't think price is going to have too big of a problem with this fair value gap. So I would probably pay attention to what price does, assuming we're bullish. Pay attention to what price does up here around that fair value gap instead. Looking at the weekly, so on the weekly, we do have a what's the word I'm looking for? A bearish breaker block, right? We came into it and then we're out, but again, looks like we're about to retest. So what I would look for is again just a little bit of resistance around 1810. But again, I do like how we came, why I like it and why the breaker block doesn't necessarily scare me as much. We come in from the lows, right? We definitely made a lower low, and we are at the bottom of the broadening formation. And then when price came back to retest, couldn't really take out this low that it made here. Ended up being a hammer, so we're looking for that 2-2 reversal. And again, I pay attention to that 1810 area. So probably the 18 call. It is a slow mover, just keeping a stack. You probably want to go get the 18 call a month out, but it'll help you when it comes to watching price action and just being more comfortable with it. Ultimately, I'm really wanting price to come back and retest this previous low here in 1922. So if you get the 18 call, let's say in July or whatever, and obviously if it hits early and you have time, you can let it run up to 19 and then at that point decide what you want to do with it. And then on the daily, as you can see, we already flipped. We already did the 212 continuation to the upside. So we're just looking to see if that continuation, continues. And again, you're probably going to find a little bit of resistance around this 18 range, but that's why you're going to put time on it. All right. So that's XLB. XLV is actually another sector as well too. Just really quickly to go through. Am I making good time? Yeah, it's not even 8 o'clock yet. Perfect. Right. So, so what you see on the monthly is that we went 212 reversal, but as you can see, price respecting this fair value gap that broke structure to the upside, right? Traded back in, even here, right? Couldn't get below the consequent encroachment. And so now we have the inside candle. So we're looking for a potential 212 reversal back to the upside. Or let's say the month ends up being bearish, you probably see a 2 down that might wick somewhere around the consequent encroachment again as the retest. And if the bulls want to step in at that point, that'll probably set it up for a 1-2-2 rep strat, just looking at the monthly. But however, on the weekly, you see that, again, we tried to trade back into, after displacing out and above this weekly breaker block, price tried to displace back into it, couldn't really do it, end up being a bearish hammer. So we're looking for that 2-1-2 reversal. Obviously, this fair value gap here gets respected as well too. So we are large weekly breaker block that's being respected, fair value gap that's also being respected. Makes me feel like honestly healthcare is something that you all should keep on your radars over the next couple of weeks, if not this week. Looking at the daily, yeah, we go 3-2 up as well too, right? Price came down, made lower lows after obviously taking out these lows over here. Even took out the high, but then came back after, when it came back to retest this previous high, stayed above it as well too. So also pivot machine gun on the strat side. Consecutively lower highs, 5 candles or more. And yep, so only thing that's happened so far is the first target was taken out. So we're looking for the second target to get taken out, and then probably up to the third target. on the daily, right? So probably find a little bit of resistance around here at 145, but yeah, it'd be a nice little move, nice little $2 move. In which case, I'm not gonna, look at it, but um, I think Pfizer, that's small account friendly. I think you should definitely chart that. Moderna, not as small account friendly as Pfizer, but yeah, you can find some contracts that'll move. Um, what was the other one that's in? It's Lilly. Yeah, you should probably chart. Actually, that one I will look at because I know that one can run. Let's see, out of the monthly finish. Ooh, nice little continuation on the month. Oh, I'm sorry, 2-2 reversal. See, this is what we're looking for when we see like price dips back into a fair value gap and displaces outside of it. You see how the next candle may come back and try to retest those same lows and fail for a third time. And now the bulls definitely stepped in. So yeah, we love that. Big time confirmation of bulls stepping in on Lilly. I know it is at, yep, definitely at all-time highs. Um, but I mean, shit, I think it still wants to go. Yeah, I don't think it's done. Not really. Yeah, it did what yeah, Bulls did what they want. This is your manipulation down here, sweeping these lows. And yeah, Bulls played that shit beautifully. So yeah, I think we'll see a 2-2 continuation um for this week. And then yeah, 2-2. Yeah, all around it's looking pretty bullish. So I would probably say it is a mover, $17, probably going to be expensive, but I'd probably look at the 850s, probably go next week, um, just to be on the safe side, giving it time. But yeah, this thing can definitely. The only thing I would say to be worried about is the fact that it's at all-time highs and there's potential for exhaustion. But yeah, I would probably say the 850s, 840s, 850s probably would be a good idea for Lilly. Overall, again, I would chart the other sectors like XLV. I'm sorry, like Pfizer, Moderna, et cetera. AbbVie, ABBV as well too. Take a drink of water. Just as I guess, as a teaching thing, um, perfect way that a breaker block gets, played. So we have what is originally a bearish order block, right? Once it gets mitigated, like it did over here, right, got broken through. Now we see the run up, right, pull back, run up, and then the retest here, only for it to continue up. So basically, all the breaker block is a order block that was once bearish, right? And once it gets mitigated, violated, disrespected, whatever, invalidated, whatever way you want to look at it, don't take that first move to the upside. When it traces back, that's what you're looking to play. When it traces back and bounces and displaces back outside of it, that's what you're looking to play. You're looking to get in around there. You can wait for strat-wise, you can wait for that 2-2 reversal there. You could have just used this as your entry point right there and then take that up. Now I know that's not a major move thus far, but if it continues up to 850, you get to 809, probably targeting this high up here of 820 with a couple weeks out. You know what I'm saying? Like if it goes up to 850, port changing play, maybe. Okay. Other sector, XLP. So loving the fact that XLP did its pullback already, ultimately respecting the bullish fair value gap, took out highs, displaced above highs, just going to really take out this high up here, kissed that broadening formation perfectly, right? No, actually, it didn't. It passed it. Yeah, because that's the original broadening formation. My bad, y'all. But either way, I mean, still wicked, just a little bit above it. So you know what? That still counts. So obviously, kind of makes you think that it's potential to reverse, but no, apparently not. unless something really bad happens for XLP, yeah, we're looking for that 2-2 continuation. I think cost recovered, I think it pulled back for earnings, but I think it pretty much damn near recovered, what it lost. So uh, being up, yeah, right there, 809. So pretty good. I think ultimately, just looking at the month, I think we're coming back for, I think that's all-time highs. Yeah, yeah. So we're coming back for all-time highs. Um, Long month to go, but moving $4 in a month, obviously possible for XLP. Looking at the weekly, hammer right off a breaker block as well too. This fair value gap on the weekly structural break in one is respecting, or excuse me, being respected. So like you see how I'm kind of putting two confluences together, right? Bullish breaker block being respected, also structure break and fair value gap one-sided, which is the strongest type of fair value gap to the upside, or respected as well too. So this to me confirms to me that this was just a pullback, and then strat wise we end up with an actionable signal with the hammer. So this tells me that we're looking at a potential TTO situation back to the upside to take out 78.61 on the weekly, and then looking at the daily, strong three, strong aggression, right? Looks like we was gonna come back out of this breaker block. Wrong, failed. And when it comes back up and out, we're looking for a close either above the consequent encroachment, or we're looking for a close outside of the breaker block to be, entirely. So we do get that, and it looks like we took out one, two, three. No, not three. I'm sorry, just two. We took out two targets of this pivot machine gun. So we still have, these highs to take out here as well too, going back to this inside candle. So definitely still some room to go on XLP. Walmart, KO, PG. Let me see. I had one of them written down. Yeah, PG. I wrote down PG, so you should definitely chart that one. I'm not gonna like alert that one because honestly, I'm keeping my watch list kind of tight. So yeah, just if you want to chart it, just make sure you know what your levels are, you know what you're looking for, you know what your entry is, or even if you don't know what to do, but let's say you like the setup and you like the way it looks, put it out inside of the group. You know what I'm saying? Somebody will help you formulate that plan, or one of us admins can help as well too to formulate that plan. Like if maybe you don't know what strikes to go after, you know what I mean? But anyway, that's XLP. There was also XLY as well too. So yep, okay, so we're at 8 o'clock. So we can start looking directly at tickers now. All right, so on the month, we end up being inside candle, and market structure is still to the bullish side. We did displace back above this high. We have not displaced below a low yet. We probably need to displace below. Oh, that's probably going to count as the low. So probably need to displace below that. But we also have a bullish fair value gap there. Looking at the weekly, um, a lot of consolidation up here. Then we finally manipulate to the downside, taking out this low over here and that low there. So that creates our broadening formation. We end up with the hammer, actionable signal. So that sets us up for a 2-2 reversal, probably the TTO back to the upside on the weekly up here at 180. On the daily, am I recording?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Don't worry, it's recorded. So whatever you miss, I started early to go over some factors, honestly. And then yeah, on the daily for XLY, outside hammer. I kind of stretched that a little bit. There you go. Outside hammer. But more importantly, we also created a broadening formation on the daily as well too, taking out that low, sweeping the lows. So what we're looking for is a 3-2 continuation back to the upside. And again, if there was going to be a daily target, in other words, something with this week's expiration, I'll probably go for like the 175 I'm sorry, not 175, the 180s for XLY. Considering it moves $2. Actually, I would go next week if you're trading XLY. But couple of tickers that I think I really like the setup. Um, First, I'm going to start with a small ticker. We're going to go with Ford. Should already be charted out. Yeah. So, um, being completely transparent, I know this looks freaking crazy, but being completely transparent, did not, my bad, did not close green on the month. I would have liked for it to close green on the month, but I'm still seeing signs of exhaustion. We'll see what happens, if it goes into a 3-2-2 rev strat. So on the monthly, it is bearish, but obviously that can easily change, right? That can quickly change. With the opening of this month. And then we have a low that was basically protected for a very long time, this area right here. And again, fifth attempt, 1, 2, 3, 4 times. Price tried to get back down to the $11. And that's why I think I said it earlier before we got like really organized with Ford. If price ever gets back down to sub 12, pay attention to that. Pay attention to that. There's just something about getting down below. It does not stay down here very long, right? So especially if it gets down to below 10, it doesn't stay down there very long, right? 2 weeks and we out. That's it, right? And obviously from a swing standpoint, that's not very long. But anyway, we get a close of a bullish two after sweeping the lows for the fifth time. So we're looking for the 2-2 reversal. And actually, if it follows the same characteristic, every time we swept lows, the next candle at least made a higher high than the previous candle, right? Over there, here as well too. Let's see. So, yep, there as well too. So we're looking for the next candle to kind of follow the same exact behavior. And then also looking at the daily as well too, we get that 3-2 continuation. But honestly, for the contract that I'm recommending, the daily really is just going to be noise for you, right? It's really going to be about how the weekly closes because I'm targeting the 13 up here, right? I'm targeting the 13 call, August 16th expiration. So this would be a trade of patience. And Ford it does not move fast, right? We're talking 30 cents on average. Actually, hold on. Yeah, we're talking 30 cents on average on for Ford. So this one would also be good practice in price action, right? Good exercise in price action as well too. So yeah, just throwing that one out there. I do think ultimately it does get there, but again, you're just gonna have to be patient with it. Now, for me, the invalidation would be if we close um, actually below this weekly entry 1148 because that takes out that fair value gap, and frankly, it's probably going to at least sweep this low down here at 1083. So I'll probably just cut it at that point, let it do its thing down to 1083, and then try to catch it back to the upside as well too. All right. Sorry, that was a text. All right. So on the daily, you can still take the daily entry though. If it clears, I think the daily entry is the same as the weekly. So if we clear 1215, go ahead and grab those 13 calls for August. I think it's still small account friend. It's actually not that expensive, I believe. Give me 1 second. Let me go ahead and take a look. Yeah, it's actually $35 a contract. So I would say at least invest $200 in it if your portfolio can allow it. At least it definitely should be a multiple contract play. I'm probably going to go 10 contracts or more, probably 15 for on Ford if it does trigger to the upside. Right now, I think it's down in the pre-market, but obviously things can change. So yeah, definitely keep eyes on that. Continuing with the small account friendly, where's the other one that I wanted to talk about? Oh, BAC. If y'all have questions, you can ask, it's not entirely meant to be a lecture. BAC. All right, good. Okay. So BAC, this one is going to be a little bit shorter term. So not really going to focus on the month, but I'll show you anyway. Obviously, the month is a 2-2 continuation. Don't really think we see real resistance until we get up to, at least for the monthly time frame, until we get up to this fair value gap here. Took out highs. I would say one or two things will happen. Either we go straight for the fair value gap or come back to retest this previous high, see if it'll act as support at 38.60. So if you want to wait, that's fine when you're talking long term. But the play that I have in mind is not necessarily long term, or at least not long term by my standards. So on the week, we end up with a hammer, outside hammer, traded back into a fair value gap on the week. Also, this massive thing is a breaker block as well too. Either way, as you can see, it's holding support on the breaker block as well as on the fair value gap, and it's a hammer. So we're looking for the 3-2 continuation back to the upside. And then on the daily, we get a 3-2 continuation back to the upside as well too. Now, remember that monthly level, that previous high that I had put out there? Boom, right? It's still being respected over here at 38.60. As you can see, we could not displace back above it, excuse me, below it on that Thursday. So it held strong. If we had been paying attention to this, that probably would have made me feel more confident to take the calls. Especially once that two just goes. This actually would have been a beautiful play had we been paying attention to it, because even if, let's say, you got in early at like 38, grabbing the 40s, it would have been an amazing lotto swing probably, because then you would have had multiple cons as well too. So anyway, so with that being said, what I am looking for, I have my targets marked out. Weekly entry is the same as daily entry. Sometimes that might be an area of like a really strong take profit area, so you might see price dip at first. But first target 40.40, second target 40.76, third target 41.14. So what I am targeting is for next week, not this week. So we're looking at June 14th, the 40.5 call. That one is currently at $41 a contract. Delta is 0.39, theta is 0.02. So time decay won't bother you as much with these contracts. If you wanted to go 1 week out further, it's $74 a contract. So that also is affordable. The delta is obviously a little bit higher at $43 a contract. Actually, I might take that. Just give myself more time. Yeah, I'll probably alert the 621s instead. Give ourselves a little bit more time, and that gives us the extra time to come back and retest this monthly fair value gap as well too. Oh, also, you have an ex-dividend date, Friday the 7th. What that means is, in order for you to qualify for the next round of dividends, you have to have bought shares before this date, before Friday the 7th. So that might also be a bullish boost to BAC to take that to the upside. All right. And again, if there's any questions about that, please don't hesitate. Hey, Egypt. So please don't hesitate to ask any questions about that. But I do want y'all to kind of maybe take a mental note of this, or please write it down, because this usually helps. It's not always going to be true, but it's something that you can add. This should not be the only reason why you jump into a play, but it's something that you can add to your confluences, right? ex dividend days. So again, what that means is you would have to buy shares in order for you to qualify for the next round of dividends. You have to buy shares um, on or before June 7th, right? Or whatever the dividend date is. So again, that's probably going to give it a nice bullish push up as well too. Buying shares obviously is a bullish thing, right? So yeah, BAC is definitely one that you should pay attention to. I think the XLF sector, actually, I'll let you chart it. Chart the XLF sector. If you think it looks bullish, then maybe you can look at some other tickers like WFC as well too. All right. So yeah, take mental note of that ex dividend date thing because that has actually helped me out on some plays as well too. Kind of just fell in line with what it was supposed to do. All right. Coming back to XLY, not necessarily small account friendly, not necessarily small account friendly, but um, looking at she's okay, she's okay, she's okay. Um, she's fine. All right, so the first thing I noticed with HD is the month, right? We traded back into the fair value gap on the month and attempted twice actually. Previous month, April, and then also in May. So I know we created a fair value gap here, but this is actually a pretty weak one, being a two-sided fair value gap. In order for it to be stronger for me to feel there, have conviction in it, I would have liked all three candles to have been bearish, but didn't really work out that way, right? So that's being respected. Then looking at the weekly, um, again, after making lows, we end up with a two down bullish candle on the week for Home Depot. Also, PCE came in as expected, which means that people are still spending on retail. Home Depot is, I guess it's for home construction stuff, but it's still retail, right? So that tells us that HD is still strong. What I'm looking for is that 2-2 reversal back up to 350, which is, I believe, somewhere around that consequent encroachment of this. Yeah, so it's right there, right? So probably going to find some resistance there, but yeah, I would want to look at the 350 calls if it triggers to the upside. Let me go ahead and close this out. Looking at the daily, we did get the 2-2 continuation. So again, based on, I know there's a lot of fair value gaps here, but honestly, based on what I'm seeing on the weekly, I think price is going to trade back up to what's the external range liquidity on the daily, or buy side liquidity above here. I think price is trying to trade back up into that. So what I would probably say if you want to, kind of just get a contract that's maybe short of the 350s, maybe 340, probably 2 weeks out, which is probably going to be a little bit expensive. Let me see. 2 weeks out, 340s are 310, or if you can afford it, then yeah, 340s for June 21st as well too. But again, we're really targeting the 350s. That's ideally what we want, the 350s. But so it's really up to you. If you want to get 350s, cool. Just know that there's a higher risk with that. I still am confident in it, and it has an ATR of almost well, no, $6 a day. So we're talking a what's that, a $16 move, and we're giving it 3 weeks to do it. So yeah, definitely realistic that I can do that in that time frame. So I'm probably, if I do take it, I'm almost at my max swings, but if I do take it, I'm probably going to take the 340, be on the safer side of it. And if it runs up to 350, I'll let my runners do the thing up to 350. Okay. All right. 1 second. Okay. Oh, yeah, the 2-2 continuation, and then also the pivot machine gun back to the upside as well too. All right. So all these highs, right? Lower highs, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 candles. So so far we've taken out target 1, 2, not quite 3. Looking to take that out and just continue up the chain. So again, don't be surprised if these fair value gaps get disrespected on the way up. All right. All right. So moving on to the next one in the list. Keep in mind, I'm not going to be playing all of these. These are just ones that I think have a pretty good setup. Oh, lovely, lovely meta. All right. So a couple of things. All right, so with meta, we get the 3, we got the Holy Grail. Now we can either get the 3-1-2 continuation and then we just take off. Um, or if it's no, actually, if it's bearish, I would probably feel more comfortable for it to go 3-1-2 up. If it goes 3-1-2 up, but ends the month wicking as a shooter, then I would say, yeah, we're probably going to go down. Which again, the month could very well end up that way, right? But just because I'm saying end up going down doesn't mean that it's not going to go 3-1-2. Maybe take out these highs, then probably exhaust and go down. So don't think that you can't still take calls in this scenario. More importantly, that this fair value gap gets respected as well too, right? Even with the Bears going 3, couldn't invalidate this fair value gap. Now looking in at the weekly, we get the 1-3-2 to the upside. Excuse me, 1-3-2. We get the 1-3, the Nirvana, but I'm thinking upside again because the fair value gaps are still being respected. We did make a higher low. Well, actually, the swing low is not in yet. We'll see what the next candle gives us. But um, yeah, I'm thinking we go 1-3-2 up. And also, ex dividend date is June 14th for Meta. So this might be a little push. You might see some buying of shares either this week going into next or possibly at the start of next week, which is why I'm probably recommending to grab the 621 contracts. And based off of the weekly, we have the 531 up here, but I think you should probably target the 500s. Yeah, especially if because let's say we got, yeah. So you could do one or two things based on the weekly, right? But I still want you to mark this level out at 41.78. This is a previous low, right? That should have acted as support, but as you can see on the retest, it's acted as resistance. All right. Again, should have bounced and continue heading down, but again, this fair value gap is being respected. So with the 2 that we're looking for, if we're going to go bullish, we're looking for the 2 up, right? But what I would do is zoom in on a smaller time frame. Once this 41.78 gets broken, ideally what you're looking for on a smaller time frame is for it to come back and retest and then continue pushing up. So if it breaks through 41.78 the first time, you don't have to immediately take that play. You can wait till it comes back to retrace. Obviously, that'll require a lot of patience on your part, but that's up to you. Patience is what pays in this game. Um, and then also on the on the daily, now we do have a bearish breaker block up here, which is the reason why I'm giving it time for 621 instead of just saying, oh yeah, let's just do it for this week. My bullish case is the fact that we have our run up, we retrace, um, and the bulls are stepping in to make sure that these fair value gaps are being respected. We swept 2 lows, couldn't displace below them. Um, Still respecting this structure breaking fair value gap as well too. So ultimately I'm bullish on it. When I add the things together that I'm seeing, plus also the ex dividend date, I'm bullish on it. So if you want to get something like 2 weeks out, I probably say 470s or 480s, but ideally I would say the 500 call for June 21st. I don't imagine that it is cheap, so this is probably not small account friendly. However, with that being said, I do like the XLC sector overall. So you can probably take a look at Google. I know they have some contracts that are small account friendly. Disney. I really like VZ. I did put it in Verizon. I did put it in the beginner chat. So I suggest you chart it. Yeah, the 500 call for Meta is the volume's at 11,000, open interest at 23, 513. It actually, I mean, it's semi small account friendly, depending on the size of your port. It's currently $274 a contract. So depending on the size of your port, yeah, you can probably grab one or two contracts and let them ride and see what happens. So anyway, that's Meta. Um, Probably gonna show. Oh, last one, and then I'll take whatever you guys are trying to look at, and we can talk about it. Uh, all right. So UPS is very actually. I'm gonna walk through it here. Let's just walk it through, right? So UPS right now on the monthly is bearish, right? Couple things I'm seeing that makes me still think bullish on it, right? Well, bullish. It's making me think bullish, right? Um, well, actually, hold on. Before I do anything there, let's get rid of that. It's always good to look out at the larger picture, right? We could just look at this part and say, oh, yeah, it's bearish. It's going to continue dying. But when you really look at the larger picture, it's really just a retracement. And I actually did not do this, so let me do it now. The low up to the high. What do you know? So on the fibs on UP, what do you think of Lula? Yeah, we could take a look at Lula. On the fibs, we came back down to the 0.618 level, right? It also happens that that's the same area that there is a structure breaking fair value gap as well too, that price has been holding above the consequent encroachment, okay? Also, there is a previous low on the month. Oh, shit, my bad. There's a previous low on the month that is apparent, excuse me, previous low on the monthly that price is holding as support. All right, 133.68, holding that as support. Okay, so that gives me reason to think that we've probably found some support. We probably are looking at a potential bounce point here. Let's clear that out. All right, now coming into the weekly comes down into a bullish breaker block, trades right back down into it. Price did it first time, and that sparked a nice little bullish run as well too, right? Looking at the lows, again, we that 133.68 couldn't displace below that so far. And then also from a strat perspective, we have our broadened formation created by taking out this low over here. All right. Now we do have a structure breaking fair value gap, a bearish one at that. However, it's a two-sided fair value gap, two bull candles, so probably going to get invalidated, probably going to get disrespected. We'll see, but yeah, my money's on the bearishness, excuse me, the bullishness. So we also end up with a actionable signal on the weekly hammer, right? So for me, places that I'm probably targeting would be up here at 153.42, and then also up here at 158.95. Looking at this inflection point right here, which is a previous low, that may create a little bit of resistance. So, with what the contract I'm going to suggest, you're going to have to be a little patient with this one, right? If it finds this as resistance and continues heading south. For me, invalidation point would be the low of this week right here, the 133. I'll probably get out of it. But if we can break and hold above that, then, like I said, we have 153.42 up there. Looking at the daily, we actually get the 3-2, and again, bouncing off of a daily breaker block, a daily bullish breaker block as well too. And again, doing it at the bottom of the range after taking out lows. This also is a pivot machine gun back to the upside, starting at this one candle. No, I'm sorry, starting at this 3 candles. So all of these highs are targets to be taken out. We haven't even taken out second target yet as well. So definitely some room to run up for UPS for sure. It did expand, make lower lows, so now we're looking for the expansion back to the other side at 153.42. So obviously, daily trigger would be at the high of this candle at 139.07. I am probably going to target. I'm probably going to give this one time. I would probably go after the 150s, but in July or August. I'll probably alert that if I do take it. But yeah, we're talking 150, 139 to 150. That's $11 for something that moves almost $3 a day. Definitely giving it some good enough time. The price of it, damn, Meta's already up. Shit. Slow down, Meta. For July, I said, right? So the 150s for July is actually small account friendly. It's $100 a con. You could probably even go a little bit further out to August if you wanted. Obviously, the volume and the open interest will follow, but yeah, I'm probably going to target the July 19th one though at 150. It's $100 a con. So if you have a super small port, then probably only grab one or two. If you have a big enough port, I would say 1,000 or more, then probably grab 2 or 3 or even 5 if you're feeling froggy on it. All right, so you said you wanted to look at Lulu. Yep, we can take a look at Lulu. I don't think I have actually charted this one in a very long time. Yeah, so. Oh, yes, I have. Well, no, that's old. Okay. Let's look at it on the monthly. What a fall. So first thing I do is on the monthly, I draw out my broad information. Actually, that should be the monthly. Voila. There we go. Right. So we're at our highs there. Up there, from there to up there. Let me see. Okay, we're just a little bit below OTE entry, but still, um, looks like we're stopping short of these lows over here. So let's see. Looking at the weekly, but I'm gonna keep it a stack though, right? Because I know I'm kind of giving like bullish bias by saying that. The thing is, market structure is broken to the downside. You have a lot of fair value gaps that have also been created. So it may continue trend, to be honest with you, right? Even though it fell short, it also wicked over here as well too. And as you can see, it still took out the lows. So for me, if I'm bullish on it, just looking at it purely at the monthly, I honestly would want. Actually, I would want both of them. I would want both of them to get taken out, and kind of wicked, and then displacing still back above it. So I would want lows to get taken out first before I continue up. Looking at it on the weekly,
I think Lulu has earnings though this week.
ah, well, mm, I wouldn't touch it then. So that means you're probably looking at it to kind of like do something short. Are you trying to hold? Whoever was asking the question, is that Shada? Are you trying to hold through earnings? Because if you're trying to, because like I would want to see what earnings does first before I think about getting into any swings long term. So I would probably wait until after June 5th, after it reports earnings, and see what it is. Even if it does run up, if you're thinking calls, that's fine because you're gonna get another opportunity. I promise you'll get another opportunity to get into the calls. You may miss the initial run up, but as you can see, there's a lot of targets up that way. So then you're probably thinking like really long term then, because I hope like I wouldn't grab if you're gonna hold through earnings, I would be thinking at least August, right? Um, yeah, that's what I would say. Just based off of this though, yeah, looking on the weekly, you get a nice hammer. This could end up being a turtle soup. Um, in which case this high would be taken out, 368.36. And again, a lot of that actually have a game plan for both sides then, if in case it doesn't go your way. If earnings ends up being bad, honestly, it's probably going to come down and try to take out this low down here, probably skip over that low and probably come down to create lower lows down here at 251. We'll see how that plays out. Yeah, and then there's also that breaker block up here as well too. Started out as a bullish order block. It just got mitigated right here. So it's probably going to come back and retest, but if that doesn't hold, it's going to continue heading south. So it really, yeah, it's going to depend on earnings. My suggestion, I mean, you're going to do what you do, but my suggestion, and I hope you end up right. I'm not trying to, be negative and say, oh yeah, you're going to lose or whatever. But my suggestion would be to wait until after earnings. However, looking at the weekly and the daily, yeah, it looks bullish. Yes, there's a gap fill as well too. It's about probably almost halfway to it. Yep, it's almost halfway through it. Um, so yeah, it's looking good. But in order for me to be convinced that the gap is going to get filled, I would like to see a candle close above the consequent encroachment of the gap of the 50% of the gap. All right. That's if it were me, that's what I would want to see. Um, so if you're looking at like, I'm not sure, are you thinking calls? Or are you thinking puts? What are you thinking? We'll take this pause to take a sip of water while you answer. Well, okay. So if you're thinking calls, right, it moves almost $10 a day. Lulu does. This is a pivot machine gun to the upside. So yeah, I probably targeted 370s. On the week, if you're looking at 370, that's a $60 move. This moves almost $10 a day. So July would be realistic. August would be safer. Or the 400s. Yeah, because then you'll be dipping into this fair value gap up here. Yeah. And one thing I want you, because again, I want to just, give it both sides, right? Market structure is broken to the downside since this candle here, right? Since this candle took out both of these lows over here. So when that happens, honestly, price could essentially just be doing that, just be retracing back up into a fair value gap, only to continue heading south. So that's something I want you to be aware of. And again, this is weekly, so obviously this will happen over time, but still, that's something that I want you to train your eyes to see. it's no different than like with bullish runs and you get the pullback, right? It's just essentially retracing back into a fair value gap. So with this, it might be the same thing. Even if earnings is bullish, it might, come back into this only to just retrace and go right back down. I'm sorry, let's see, we're looking at the monthly as well too. So we might have resistance. Yeah, I'll probably say 370s. There's a lot of resistance, monthly resistance along the way as well too. This 350 here, 354, so it might struggle around there. So yeah, I'll probably say for July or August, give it that time if you're bullish on it. But yeah, again, I'd probably want to wait until after earnings, see what earnings says. All right, AMD. Oh, before we do that, let's take a quick look at SMH. Yeah, really, SMH I think isn't done, right? Really nice bullish push after retracing back into the fair value gap. Not only did we displace above the previous month's high, but then we also took out previous highs as well too. We held above that, so far it's holding as support. I mean, we're looking for this to hold as support, this 239 level this month. We're looking for price action to displace back above that, no matter what happens in the month. I would say a pullback week so far. I mean, that's what it's looking like to me. Market structure is still bullish. We respected the previous high as well too. Hell, fair value gap wasn't even invalidated as well too. And then looking at the daily, traded back into a fair value gap, and actually two of them, and respected both. So yeah, I think we're setting ourselves up for 2-2 reversal. Also in Taipei, I think all of the tech leaders met in a meeting. I don't know what it was about or whatever. Obviously having something to do with AI. More than likely, probably them like, how can we make ourselves more money? Just joking. But yeah, we get the 2-2 reversal. I think we are going to TTO back to the upside at 250.85. So with that being said, let's take a look at AMD. Hold on one second. Sorry, y'all. We got my daughter harmonica. Okay, I'm gonna love that one. I'm gonna love that choice. All right. Where was I? Okay, so yeah, we ended with a 2 down bullish candle on the month. So took out lows, came back up. Still, bullish trend still intact, right? Took out highs over here, kept it moving. This is just a retracement so far, right? Actually, fair value gap respected, right? Because we closed above and then we opened here. It's not a close, so yeah, fair value gap still respected as well too. Are we out of it? Yeah, I think we're out of it. Yeah, we displaced back up out of it. So yeah, looking for the 2-2 reversal back to the upside, and then of course, obviously, we got all-time highs at 227.30. Looking at the week, let's clear that out so we can see. So after we get this swing pivot over here, right, with the 3 candle, yeah, we've been making higher lows so far. We got the 2-2 continuation. Obviously, AMD ended the week a little bearish, but still making higher lows. So probably profit taking maybe, especially if we continue up. This will end up being a order block then if we displace above. I'll probably target highs up here at 187 if I'm, swing trading this. Probably target the 180 con, or if you're feeling froggy, to 185. Looking at the daily, so we did go 3, but honestly, looking at the bodies of the candle, price really didn't go anywhere, right? It's still stuck in pretty much in the same range. So maybe, we'll go 3-2 up. Maybe we can break out of it. It looks like, honestly, this fair value gap is getting respected. The structure breaking fair value gap is getting respected. We got the first attempt and the second attempt right around the consequent encroachment of it. And looks like we really could not get past it. So I think this is a situation of strong resistance, but the bulls don't want it to die either. So we'll see, right? We'll see if we get that 3-2. If we somehow fall on the daily, I'll probably target 158 or 160 puts. And yeah, because if we fall further, we'll probably bounce off of this gap because it'll be the first time trying to get through it. So probably bounce there. But yeah, if we're bullish, I'll probably target the highs up here. If you're trying to go, like instead of going months out, I'll probably go after the 170 call for the next 2 weeks, over the next 2 weeks. 175, I'll probably go for June 20. Actually, you know what? I'll probably go 170 call for June 21st. Keep it simple. Just give you one contract. That's the one that I focus on. All right. All right. So Emerald for an XLE play. I wonder if they open them yet. One second, guys. Mischievous 4-year-olds. All right. AMD 160 put 170. Okay, so I wanted to just look at where we were with oil futures. Not really going to talk too much about it. I just want to kind of see. Okay, so all right, so this could just be the pullback. Then we're back into a breaker block. So okay, so maybe we sweep lows only to retrace back up. We'll see. But we are close to lows anyway, so I'm gonna mark that out too. Yeah, so tight range, that's expecting more. Okay, so looking at MRO then. Yeah, so the month's traded back into a fair value gap, and yeah, went two down bull candles, setting us up for a 2-2 reversal on that. Highs haven't gotten taken out though, so just pay attention to that. If you do get that 30 call that you were talking about, wouldn't be a bad idea. Just be careful with that. That might still prove as resistance. Yeah. Looking at the week, really strong. As a matter of fact, this would have been the time to get in. Right there on that 2-2 revert. Wow, I got so focused on XOM, I didn't even pay attention to MRO. MRO is a small account friendly. It is not a fast mover, but as you can see with time, it pays. We're talking about a move from 26, let's see, from 26.53 in 1 week up to 20. Yeah, so imagine grabbing the 26.5 or 27 calls only for it to almost get to 29. Pretty nice. Yeah, this is what we look for when we want to see if the bullish trend is going to continue. The run up and then retracing back to a fair value gap, internal range liquidity, only to bounce off of that. So it's probably going to seek out external range liquidity at 30.06. So again, that 30 call would definitely be, in my opinion, a good idea. The only thing I know, like I think we had an OPEC meeting. I did not see what that was about, whether they're going to cut supply or increase supply. If it's cutting supply, which should create more demand, which should allow prices to continue up, then I think we'll probably see some more bullishness in XLE. If they're going to increase supply, demand will probably go down, in which case we'll probably see some bullishness. Now, this gap fill, obviously first attempt tried, couldn't really do it. Right, that's your first attempt there. Tried, couldn't really do it. So, I mean, it looks like, yeah, 2-1-2 back to the upside. Now, if we do go bearish, I would probably target the halfway point of this gap fill. So basically either 28 put or 27 put or 27.5 put. And yeah, if it completely fills the gap, that's a nice little put to grab. And then you do have some support down here at this breaker block. So you can probably try to flip that back in the calls back to the upside for MRO. Overall, I do like the 30 call. It is a slow mover. So I'd probably say grab the 30 call for at least July 19th. That's just my 2 cents. All right. The rest is up to you on that. I do just an update on the XOM. We are at runners right now, just simply because, not because I didn't have faith in it, just trying to show y'all and practice good discipline. So we originally had, I think, 3 contracts on it, took profit at 53%, 52%, I think. And so we're leaving a runner that's currently up 59%, 59.38%. So we'll see how XOM wants to open. It's actually down in the after hours, so we'll see what that turns into if it continues pushing up. For XOM, oops, I definitely clicked on the wrong thing. So for XOM, did I erase it? Oh, oops. Well, the next target is up here at 117.51. If we get through that, my next target after that is 119.89. All right. So we've given it, we have until July. So I'm probably going to give the runner a little bit of time. However, if we displace below this previous high, I'm probably going to cut it. I'll probably just cut the runner and leave it alone. All right. But still bullish on it. Just want to know, I got to go research what happened with that meeting unless anybody knows. But I think we did recently have OPEC, if I'm not mistaken. So, all right. And yeah, if nobody has anything else, that's it for me. Obviously I can't watch every single one of those plays, so please, I implore you to chart them. I'm probably personally going to be looking at BAC. I'm going to be looking at F. I'm also going to be looking at Meta, and then I'm going to be looking at UPS. So those are the 4 that you'll probably hear me alert over the next week. But everything else, you know. Oh, and AAL, there was an article that the reason why I was talking about potentially having to cut it. There's an article that came out about it. The something about the union, the flight attendants might strike. They should expect a strike in the next couple of months or whatever. So the market is forward thinking. So they're probably gonna figure that into the price action now. So probably will, you know, visit if it, you know, if that news is important enough to shareholders, we're probably going to visit these monthly lows at 1086, in which case, like I said, that's why I'm having to cut. And as you can see, there's definitely space after that. We're looking for, yeah, probably going to look for one of, if not both of these lows to be taken out, or just one of these lows to be taken out for AAL. If it continues bearish. I definitely entered very early, but I do have until August with them. So hold on one second. Let me just double check, make sure I did choose. Yeah, I did choose. Got scared for a second. I thought I chose July. I second guessed myself. I thought I chose July. Reason why I got in is simply just because the lows got taken out. That's all. All the lows got taken out. And then on the smaller time frame, it started to show like maybe we might catch a 1-2-2 rev strap back to the upside. So I definitely did not go full position size in this. That's why I gave it August, give it some time. So allow it to, if it wants to drop a little bit more. Maybe I add at that point, maybe I hold through it. We'll see. But yeah, we'll see what happens. We'll see how well it holds. All right. Again, that's it for me. Pay attention to futures as well too. Make sure you chart that out. Oh, well, there you go. Yeah, that's what we're looking for. Anyway, that's all I got. Let's see if this continues. Yeah, if this continues through the night, yeah, that's probably going to be that indicator that we're going to continue bullish. Nice. All three of them flipped. Well, not yet. NQ is still inside. But yeah, we got the 3-2 up for ES. Let me look at it on the hour, see what's up. Nice push. Nice push. Completely invalidated this fair value gap over here. And now use it as support. This is an inversion fair value gap. If anybody wanted to see one, this is one, right? Starts out bearish, but once price mitigates and invalidates it back to the upside, when price comes back to retest it, inevitably to retest it, then uses it as support now and we out. So perfect example of an inversion fair value gap for the Qs. And yeah, that was taken off so far. And yeah, we got the TT over here on the hour as well. Yeah, this looks like we might be very well bullish tomorrow. I'll believe it when I see it though. I never get my hopes up or go crazy or expect like a lot of shit because you know there's obviously resistance along the way. But yeah, so far so good. We'll see how it continues. All right. Y'all have a good night. When this is done converting, I will put it in the team chat. Thank you to the 15 of you that came. That's really, man. Anyway, all right. See y'all later.